Thank you so much, Bertie. Sorry. So sorry. Thank you so much for speaking with me. This was exciting. This was exhilarating. And what I really loved is your personality really shines through with this. So what I was wondering is, you talked about persistence, patience, and being adaptable, all about when filming. So what kind of, was it through life lessons, through previous adventures where you kind of come to this idea of how to tackle each situation you're in?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has been learning that through trial and error, but I've been very fortunate to have a number of incredible mentors over the years. And one mentor is a legendary National Geographic magazine photographer, a guy called Steve Winter. And he's responsible for he's National Geographic's big cat photographer. So he got the photo of the mountain lion in front of the Hollywood sign. I don't know if you've seen that picture. Yeah. But that picture took him 15 months to get. And I worked for Steve for 2 years. I was his assistant. And yeah, during that time working for him, I learned that it's all about persistence. You just need to hang in there. And yeah, I apply that to everything that I film now. And I mean, a great example of needing a lot of persistence was in the Antarctica episode of Epic Adventures, when we went to try and film the fin whale gatherings. And we had about a month aboard a 75-foot sailboat. And during that time, the weather was awful. We had about 6 days during that time when we could actually film, because the rest of the time the weather was crazy. And yeah, we had icebergs grinding down the side of the hull. The wind was so strong, our anchor was dragging. It was nuts. So yeah, but I learned from Steve, it's all about persistence. If you hang in there and you're passionate and you read the clues of the environment, it will happen. And right towards the end of the expedition, we managed to film the biggest gathering of fin whales ever. So that was pretty mind-blowing.
Wonderful. I was wondering, when you're on your own expedition, right? Or if you're doing like a project for yourself, can you talk about the differences between that and filming for this TV series? Is it less time that you're given?
So, I mean, the key difference between what I do now compared to the projects that I used to be involved in. So I used to make a lot of online series for National Geographic, and those had much smaller budgets. They were on a much smaller scale. And the sort of strategy tended to be to go somewhere for a very long time, kind of bed in with a very, very small team and film what happened. Whereas now what's changed with this is we've got more resources to do more ambitious things. So we can, charter sailboats, ice strengthened sailboats to go to Antarctica. Things of that scale. And then we go with a slightly bigger team full of, I've been so lucky on this project. The wildlife encounters have been great, but just the people I've got to work with has been epic. And so, yeah, we have a slightly bigger team, and that involves specialists. And one of the great things has been working with loads of scientists on this project. So on almost, I'm going to say every one of our shoots, we've worked with a scientist. So we've worked with 8 different scientists across the series on location. We hosted them, and then 16 different scientific institutes, because I did my undergraduate in zoology, so I'm, I guess, trained as a scientist. I wouldn't claim to be a scientist now, very much filmmaker. But because of that, I learned the importance of science. And I think, we're going to the ends of the earth to film these things. Let's bring home some science with us. As a result of this series, we've contributed to some brand new discoveries. So that's pretty exciting.
Well, one of the things that was really fascinating right away, we see the use of technology and how that really helps one capture image, get more information that we've never had before. Can you talk about kind of the technology that is used in the series?
Yeah, so I mean, a big part of my work now on any project is with drones. Drones relatively recently have become very valuable tools in filming wildlife because their battery life has increased long enough that you can fly them for enough time, and we can put powerful zoom lenses on them, so you don't need to be close to the animals, because drones are a potentially disturbing tool. But I work with scientists and experts and spend a huge amount of time figuring out how to get these drones close enough to the animals to film them, but without disturbing them. That's really important for me. And yeah, they're a game changer, because it used to be that we'd use them to get pretty kind of landscape aerials, whereas now I use them to follow animal behavior. So in the case of the eagle episode, we went to try and film crowned eagles, which is Africa's most powerful eagle. They're a beautiful eagle, very, very elusive. Seeing a crowned eagle is hard. Seeing a crowned eagle hunting, not really a thing. And so that was our challenge, because we like to be ambitious. And I ended up filming a crowned eagle hunting from the drone. So I was getting a crowned eagle's view of a crowned eagle hunting, and they were zooming after straw-colored fruit bats, which is a fruit bat with a 3-foot wingspan, and these eagles weave through the forest to catch them. So that's one piece of technology, drones, that have been a game changer. The other one that we used on the shark episode was a piece of technology originally developed for the military called a rebreather. Now, a rebreather, basically, sharks, it turns out, especially hammerhead sharks, are not scary, dangerous, bold, aggressive predators. They are shy, and they are secretive, and they are scaredy cats. And getting close to them is really hard. And when you use normal kind of conventional scuba diving equipment to film them, scuba diving equipment makes lots of bubbles, and that noise scares them and they swim away. So we used a rebreather, and a rebreather basically recycles your air. So when you breathe out, that goes into a lung that's on your back, and the carbon dioxide is removed by a scrubber, and an oxygen tank inserts some oxygen, and then it gives you that breath back. So it's recycling your air. And that means that you can stay down for a really long time because you're recycling your air. But more importantly, you're silent. And that is how we got close to the sharks. That was how we could sneak up on them, was by not making any bubbles.
Are you able to kind of gain the species trust? We see you where like there was a whale who went to sleep. We've seen in the opening segments where, they run up to you and kind of play with the camera equipment, but yet no one is attacking you. Well, at least we didn't see it. So how do you gain their trust?
Yeah, I didn't get attacked by any animals. Well, I guess there's two ways of filming animals. One way is to be hidden, so the animal doesn't know that you're there, and you use a blind to hide, and the animal is oblivious to your presence. The other way is to habituate the animal to your presence, so you become just part of the environment, and so it accepts that you're there. And it depends on which animal you're trying to film as to how you do that. In the case of the whale that you mentioned, the pilot whale that went to sleep in front of me. So how that happened was, pilot whales swim, right? They're a big dolphin, actually, not a whale. And their lives are on the move. So we need to keep up with them to tell their story. But humans are rubbish at swimming compared to a dolphin. And the problem is, the moment you get in, they're already past you. And if you try and keep up, even if you swim as hard as you can, you're going to make loads of bubbles, loads of noise. Your heart rate's going to be through the roof. The camera's going to be wobbly. So instead, we used some technology. We used a sea scooter, which is like a little propeller-based. If you've seen Thunderball, the Bond film, that old Bond film, that scooter is what we used. And I attached a camera to the front of that. And what that allows you to do is not only keep up with these animals, but because I'm not kicking to keep up, the scooter's doing the hard work. My heart rate and my breathing rate stays really low, and the animals can sense that, and so they're relaxed as well. And I was zooming alongside these whales, and they all started to go to sleep. And if an animal is going to sleep in front of you, that's when you know it's pretty chill. So yeah, you got to get these animals to be accepting of your presence.
There were some really playful interactions going back with the pilot whale. You also had the spinner dolphins. Were there any other pairings either through this series or in the past that you was really surprised didn't know existed?
As in animals that I could get close to.
Of just animals themselves interacting that you normally wouldn't
interacting,
see.
got it. Yeah. So you're talking about the pilot whales and the bottlenose dolphins. Yeah, when they were scratching each other's bellies. Yeah, that was pretty amazing. Yeah, as far as we know, that hasn't been, you often get associations between pilot whales and bottlenose dolphins. That's common. But to actually see them physically touching each other, it was we think the first time. So that was pretty cool to see. In terms of another interaction like that of two animals interacting, let's think. I can't think of one. Let me come back to that.
Okay. So kind of lastly, what I was wondering, I know that you're currently filming season 2. Is there anything that you can tease, either a location or a species?
Unfortunately not. Mickey Mouse would come after me. Yeah.
Okay, understood.
The scary Disney people would come after me.
Well,
All I can say is that on season 1, we went for some very ambitious things. And I was pretty worried at the end of season 1 when they said Disney and National Geographic said we'd like a season 2. I was concerned. I'm like, well, season 2, we've got to level up. It's got to be better. And we've got really lucky on season 1. But all I can say is so far we've filmed half the episodes and it's going great. So yeah, I'm excited.
That works. And just kind of really quickly, can you talk about a little bit of the process of the planning to the filming? How long does that take? Is that years in advance?
Yes, in short. Yeah, it's a big planning thing and it's a huge team effort. So I work with a production company in Bristol in the southwest of the UK called Wildstar Films, and we have a really big production team that are amazing and getting us to these extraordinarily remote places because it's a logistical headache. But yeah, in terms of planning, it's probably a year normally. Yeah, that's the normal.
Thank you so much for speaking to me. I thoroughly love the series. The hawks, I didn't know they can do that with monkeys. It terrified me. But thank you so much for speaking to me.
Oh, good to chat, Dana. Thanks for your time.